I'm Lena the Yogi. Welcome. Today we're going to be practicing a slow yin style practice focused on opening and releasing our hips. To begin, send your legs long towards the short edge of your mat and root down into your hips. Then just rest your hands on your thighs, lower your shoulders down, and close the eyes. Now I have a couple props here with me for this practice. I have 2 blocks and a strap. Now, everything is optional. I'm going to demonstrate with and without the blocks and the strap. Find what you need, if you need any props, and then settle into your breath. Legs long to the front of the mat, hips and shoulders heavy. Softening the muscles of your face, maybe closing your eyes. Guiding the awareness to your breath. Notice if the breath is even and smooth, or if it's a little stuttered, a little choppy. Notice if you can smooth out the breath, lengthening the pace of your inhales, the pace of your exhales. And today we're going to focus on building positive intentions with our mind and trying to let go of negative assumptions. So maybe take a few breaths here before we move into our practice and set a positive intention for your practice. Maybe just staying present with the breath is your intention. Or accepting where you are in your body, your energy today. Whatever intention comes to mind, try to hold on to it, set it here. And with your next breath in, open the eyes if you allow them to close. And let's guide the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. If that feels like too much, your right foot can also rest on the inside of the left calf or closer to the ankle, and try to rotate that right knee outward. And notice if you can sit any taller, reach the left leg out any further. And take a big inhale breath to fill, sitting nice and tall, and an exhale breath to lean forward over that left leg. Let your hands land wherever is comfortable. Then let the chin tuck and the weight of the head pull you forward. If you like, you can stack blocks on top of the left thigh. Stack your fists and allow the forehead to rest on something. But try to give yourself a little space to sink into over time. Removing props as you need. And once you've found the basic shape of the posture, bring your awareness to the sensations that you feel in the body. What feels like it's getting a little longer. Send your inhales to those places. And let your exhales anchor the body down. taking some of the effort out of the pose, allowing you to soften into support. We'll spend a little bit more time here, about halfway through this hold. Notice if your body has any more space. Creep the fingers forward. Soften through the back side of the left leg, inside of the right thigh. Anywhere else where you have sensation. Keep sending the breath there. We have just a little longer to hold in this shape. Keep asking the body if it has any more space. Noticing how the pace of your breath changes. If the sensations become more powerful, maybe match the power of the sensation with the power of the breath. Lengthening and drawing the breaths up. On your next breath in, begin to guide yourself back up. Shoulders over the hips, nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. And we'll send the legs out wide to a straddle, facing the long edge of the mat. And find your sits bones. Feel the bony part of your bottom kind of connecting to your mat. Then bring your hands behind your hips, fingers pointing out or a little behind, whatever's comfortable. And we'll walk the feet in here a little bit for a moment. Rock your weight back more onto the upper part of your bottom. And rock your knees side to side. Just feel a little sensation in your lower back, the hip socket, the connective tissues there. A few more breaths, swaying the knees right and left. And start to bring yourself around to the other end of your mat, both legs long. And we'll take that pose in the other direction. This time your right leg will stay long and the left knee will bend and rotate out, planting the sole of the left foot anywhere on the inside of that right leg that's comfortable for you. And see if you have more space to lengthen your right leg, more space to sit up tall. On an exhale breath, begin to lower your chest to your thigh, any amount. Pause when you have resistance in the body. And like before, maybe it was helpful to prop yourself up on some blocks. Even a pillow or a bolster is excellent here. If we have something to support the body, it can help us to soften. We want to release as much muscular effort here as possible. Maybe even letting the eyelids close. Focusing in on the sound of your breath, the sensations of your body, this meditative practice. Keep calling the attention back to the breath, noticing where you have the most sensation. Can you send your breath there? Anchoring down through the hips, continuing to yearn the crown of the head forward, keeping softness in the back of your knee, in your face, in your jaw. Anywhere you can find softness. See if you can guide your mind back to that positive intention you set at the beginning of practice. And if you didn't set an intention, if it didn't feel right to you then, maybe think about it and find one now. It's okay. A positive intention is a beautiful and a positive thing to set in your life. Notice when the ego starts to hold on to those intentions and they become positive expectations. And when we practice yoga and we feel like we're not getting anything out of it, maybe you do a good deed and you don't see an immediate reward, sometimes we can feel a little jaded. Try to stay positive. Know that positivity creates change. Sometimes we don't get to see that change. Take just a few more rounds of breath. Notice if your breath has created change in your body. maybe in the mind. With your next breath in, start to rise, stacking your spine, coming out of the pose slowly. Then turn once again to the long edge of your mat, creating that wide straddle shape with the legs. Wiggle in and find your sits bones. And walk your hands back out through the center. Taking a few deep breaths. Maybe point and flex the toes. Wiggle the knees a bit. Notice if you can lower the chest any more. And take just one more round of breath here. Before you inhale to rise, stacking the spine, bringing the feet together. Let's lie all the way back onto the mat. Once you're comfortable in a supine position, making any adjustments you need to be comfortable. Notice if you can feel the weight equally both sides of your bottom on the mat. And keep the bottom anchored down right where it is. We're going to walk the heels, the feet, to the right corner of your mat. And you should feel a little sensation along the right thigh. Maybe it's subtle. If you need a little more, tuck your left ankle over the right ankle. Then, keeping the butt right in the middle of the mat, reach your arms overhead and your hands and shoulders scoot to the right corner at the top of the mat for banana pose. If you need more sensation in the upper body, you can bend your elbows and clasp opposite elbows or forearms. Try to keep weighing your arms down to open up your chest, and that left armpit especially. And then breathe into the space you are creating in the side body. If it feels comfortable for the head and neck, maybe let your head turn a little to that right shoulder. With each exhale, surrender down. Each inhale, fill the body up with space, with peace, with light. Take just a few more long, slow breaths here, anchoring that left side of the body down and breathing into it. And with your next breath in, start to find your way through center, releasing any bind, reaching your legs long and your arms up overhead. Take a few breaths just to shimmy, to wiggle, maybe rotate the ankles, the wrists, the knees, the shoulders, the hips. And eventually anchoring your bottom down in the middle of the mat. Let's banana pose to the left. Walk the heels of the feet to the left. Maybe you want to hook the right ankle on the left foot. And guide your hands and the shoulders and the head between them over to the left corner. If it feels good, you can take the bind overhead on your wrists, opposite elbows, or just kind of keep your arms draped overhead where they're comfortable. And try to keep that right shoulder heavy, especially so you feel some sensation through the arm, through the shoulder, all along the right side of the body. Keep allowing yourself to breathe into the stretch. And maybe the head turns to the left. Find softness where you can. Focus on your breath. If your mind starts to wander, try to guide it back to the rhythm of your breath, to the sensations in your body, to the intention that you're setting for yourself today. And just a few more breaths, letting everything be heavy. And with an inhale, Guide yourself back to center, releasing any bind, stretching the limbs out any way that's comfortable. And draw your knees into your chest, nice and slow, so you can ground the lower back, grasp the knees, just pull them in and rock yourself a little side to side. Maybe let your eyes close and your head sway right and left with the direction of the knees, or maybe against the direction of the knees. Guiding your head and your knees back to center. Give yourself another squeeze and rock the whole body over to one side for fetal pose, knees and palms together. And press yourself up to a comfortable seat. From a comfortable seat, we're going to find deer pose. So you'll want to align your right shin bone to one side of your mat, and then check in with the right knee. We want it right in front of the right hip. Then tuck your left foot inside the arch of that right foot. This is our first option for deer. You can also slide that left knee a little further back so it's aligned with the left side of the hips. See where you feel comfortable in the legs and the hips. Once we've got a position that feels right, we've got sensation we can work with, start to guide your hands out around the right knee. This is a place where blocks can be helpful. If you don't want to come down all the way, you can create a little tower, rest the forearms. You can use one block, or if you're comfortable, come all the way down. If you don't have blocks, you can substitute with anything soft and comfortable to rest yourself into. Once you find the basic shape of the pose, starting to notice where you have the most sensation. Notice if you have any clenching, tightness in the body as a reaction to that sensation. And try to start to let it go, breath by breath. We'll spend just a little longer here. If you feel like you've got the room, maybe you can bow into the fold a little more, reach the arms longer, so the head lower. And keep trying to anchor down through the left hip as well, if you can. It's okay if it's floating back there. Just push it down a bit. On an inhale breath, let's start to walk the hands back in, stacking shoulders over the hips. And before we move the legs at all, just walk your hand out to the right a little bit until you can comfortably put some weight into that right hand. And let's lift the left arm overhead for a big side body stretch. Once you're settled in, you might find you can walk that right arm a little further out. Think about rotating the left shoulder back, like you've got something to lean back into. Take a few more deep breaths. Try to stretch out through the left side of the body. Anchor down through the right side. Finishing an exhale here to the right. Let's inhale back to center. And bring your heels out in front of you for a couple windshield wipers. Land the heels. Plant your hands behind your hips and then let the knees sway right and left. And this will help us transition right into that deer pose with the left leg in the front. And take another round, maybe slow it down. And guide the left shin bone parallel to the front. The right knee tucks out to the side or in to that left arch of the foot. Wherever you're comfortable in the right leg. You want to be able to put a little weight in that right side, but it's normal for that right side to be floating. See if you can bring your right foot in line with the knee, just like the left foot should be in line with the knee, and the left knee in line with the hip. Once we've got all that settled, we feel good in the hips. So you notice I'm a little sideways here. I can't put that much weight on the right side. We're going to walk the hands out to the left this time. If you found props helpful, bring them around out in front of your knee, and then prop yourself up at your first point of resistance. Don't rush the body in a yin practice. Take your time as you begin to settle in, focusing on the breath and the sensations you find. And we have just a little longer on this side. Notice if the sensations have shifted in your body and how you need to react to that shift. If it's gotten really intense, your limb has fallen asleep, maybe back off a little bit. If you feel like things have opened up, maybe you can move in deeper. And just notice without any judgment, without expectation, just with the intention of opening up. Letting it happen when it happens. Take another round of breath, settling in as heavy as you can be. And on the inhale, start to rise up, walking the hands back in, pausing with the legs in this shape. And bring your left hand out to the left to support you for a side bend. And reach your right arm up and over your head, finding the point of resistance and kind of pushing that right side of the body to the sky, the anchoring down through your left hand. Notice if you can ground further through the right hip, open more through the chest by pulling that right shoulder blade back. Take 2 more breaths here, looking for space through that right side of the body, between the ribs, under your arm, all through the low back. Take another exhale, reaching to the left. Inhale as you come back to center slowly. We'll bring the legs back out wide for windshield wipers. Hands behind you, a little lean back. Slide your knees right and left. You're wiping away tension. That was a lot of forward flexion. So let's see if we can take a little back bend. Guide your feet together and your hands behind you for a reverse tabletop. Your fingertips can point any way here. Just try to get a little lift through the hips and let the head fall back. If that's not feeling like it's accessible in your practice, you can modify with a shoulder bridge, laying down, hands by your hips. Just lift the hips up, stretch the front of the belly. Take another deep breath on either one. Then guide your hips back down, knees in if you're on your back. Let's find our way back up to seated, however you need to get there, and into a wide straddle. Now there's a lot of ways that blocks can support us in this wide straddle. If the hamstrings are very tight, you might find that blocks under the knees is supportive. Remember, they have 3 settings, so find the one that feels the best for you. And you don't have to take the legs super wide, right? If we have some sensation here or even here, start there. If you have a really tight lower back, you might find that you can't lean forward very much. Then blocks under the hips might support you better. So take a little time, play around with your props. Even a pillow could support you here under the knees or under the bum. When you have what you need where you need it, let's walk the hands forward through the center of the legs. Allow the weight of your head to pull you forward a little bit. You'll notice I like to wiggle my feet a bit as I'm settling in. Make sure the knees don't feel too much discomfort. And also, if you don't have quite as much flexibility here as I do, you might want to prop in front of you to support the arms or even the chest. If you have some pillows, it can feel very supportive and comfortable to lean into something here. Start to become aware of your breath. And let it be heavy and slow. we have a little bit more time here. Ask yourself if you have a little bit more space here. Can you lean in further? Or just soften somewhere in your body, lengthen out your breath. What can you do to be more present, more engaged in your practice? Take one more long breath here, finishing the exhale to the very bottom. And on an in-breath, start to stack your spine a little bit at a time, removing any props that you have supporting you, your body, and guiding the feet back together and yourself back down onto your mat, coming to lie on your back. Take your time to get comfortable there, making any adjustments you need to make. Once you're comfortably supine, draw the knees up into the chest, wrapping the arms around the legs. Then catch a hold of those knees and pull them wide for a happy baby stretch. You can stay right here, rocking side to side. If you want to go a little deeper, you can walk your hands up the shins towards the ankles or the outsides or insides of the feet, and rock side to side with that mind. And take a little bit of time here. Notice the weight of your lower back, the length of your breaths. So you slowly rock yourself with the rhythm of that breath, right and left, back and forth. As we linger here a little more, if it feels good, maybe play with extending one leg and then the other, or both legs. Just breathing into that straddle. And only if it feels comfortable, if it feels like it's supporting you in your current practice. 3 more rounds of breath. Happiest happy baby. Maybe adding a little smile, lifting the corners of the mouth. And begin to close the knees back together, releasing the feet or the ankles if you have them. Guide your hands back to the knees. Then use your right hands to push your knees to the right, grounding the knees down. If they resist that grounding, go ahead and support them with a block, pillow, whatever you have handy, or tuck it between the knees if there's a lot of space there. We're trying to stack the left hip over the right here and the left knee over the right knee as much as is comfortable. Then stretch your arms out to a T. Try to anchor the left shoulder down. It's going to resist it, and that's okay. You should feel a big opening through the left chest into your low back, maybe along the outer left leg. Begin to settle into your spinal twist. Breath is long and steady, in and out through the nose. The gaze is soft, maybe eyes are closed. We have just a little more time in this shape. If you find you have a lot of space here, you might be able to extend the left leg out and maybe catch it with the right hand. You can also use a strap to support you in that endeavor if you want to try for the bind that you can't quite reach. And to substitute a strap, there's always a t-shirt, a towel, a blanket, whatever you have handy. Just a few more long and slow breaths here, softening into your expression of the twist. And then begin to guide your knees back to center, lifting them up and hugging them in. Find a little sway across the mat. And getting some momentum and using the left hand to push the knees to the left. If they resist that anchoring down, stacking of the knees, you can prop them up with a block, squeeze a block between, or use anything else you have handy that's comfortable. Once the legs and the lower back feel like they're in the correct position, we've got sensation there. Start to guide your arms out wide, anchoring the shoulders down as much as you comfortably can. Maybe the head turns to the right shoulder as you settle in. Spinal twist. Notice if you can let the exhales be even longer and slower here as you keep letting gravity hold the body down, surrendering to that pressure, and letting yourself be covered with each exhale. Right with the inhale, with no muscular effort, just feeling a little lighter, a little lift each time you breathe in. And guide your mind back to the intention that you set. And back to the rhythm of the breath. One more long, slow breath in. Complete exhale out. Guiding the knees to center with the breath in. Give yourself a big hug, a rock side to side, and relax into your Shavasana. whatever form that Shavasana wants to take today, maybe traditional or a seated meditation, anything else that feels comfortable for you. Try to take a few moments of peaceful rest to yourself. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.